What if the Cold War didn't stay cold? What if the Cuban Missile Crisis wasn't the end, but just the beginning? March 1963. A Soviet submarine patrols off the Cuban coast. Nerves are still raw. Trust? Gone. Then it happens. A U.S. destroyer detects an unidentified contact. Orders are rushed. Torpedoes are launched. The submarine is lost with all hands. Washington calls it a tragic mistake. Moscow calls it an act of war. 3 days later, the Soviet Union declares war. World War III has begun. NATO fielded over 3 million soldiers, backed by 12,000 tanks. But the Warsaw Pact brought numbers, 4 million troops, over 50,000 tanks. Together, they held 12,000 nuclear weapons. The world holds its breath. Everyone expects missiles. Everyone expects the end. But nothing comes. No sirens. No mushroom clouds. Just silence. And then, Soviet tanks cross into West Berlin. NATO divisions surge into position. Bombers lift off, but stay just outside enemy airspace. No one presses the button. Not yet. Because both sides know, once nukes fly, there's no going back. So instead, the war begins the old-fashioned way, with bullets, bombs, and blood. But the world keeps asking, how long until that changes? The first weeks are chaos. Berlin is surrounded. The Fulda Gap turns into a battlefield straight out of hell. Dogfights rage across the skies of Europe. In Cuba, U.S. Marines land again. Cities are bombed. Supply convoys are ambushed. Casualties skyrocket. Yet still, no nukes. Why? Because in 1963, nuclear command systems are fragile. Second strike capability is shaky. And false alarms? Common. Push the button too soon, and you might start something you can't finish. So both sides hold back, but they're ready. Summer 1963. The war stretches across continents. In the Atlantic, U.S. carriers clash with Soviet subs. In the Middle East, proxy conflicts ignite. In Africa, revolutions are suddenly well-armed. Every region becomes a chessboard. Every move is a gamble. Every loss inches someone closer to desperation. And still, the nukes stay silent. But command bunkers are lit. Missile crews sleep beside launch consoles. And generals whisper, if we lose Berlin, we go nuclear. No one knows if it's a bluff. September 1963. NATO pushes back. Poland rises up. The Red Army begins to fracture. Soviet supply lines collapse. Then comes the strike that changes everything. A NATO bombing run hits a logistics hub in Belarus. But there's a problem. That wasn't just a supply depot. It was a nuclear storage site. Several tactical warheads are destroyed. Not armed, but now exposed. And leaking. Photos leak. Rumors explode. Did NATO just attack nuclear weapons? The U.S. moves to DEFCON 1. Silos open. Bombers take off. The Soviet Union scrambles missiles to launch sites. Naval fleets vanish from radar. Moscow activates its dead hand systems. In bunkers across the world, hands hover over buttons. Just waiting. Then, a Soviet bomber crosses into Alaskan airspace. U.S. fighters intercept. Radio silence. No response. The bomber is shot down. The world freezes. Will this be the spark? This war could end in countless ways. So let's explore two of the most extreme outcomes. But then, nothing. No retaliation. No launches. No warheads in the sky. Just silence. And then, a message from Moscow. Khrushchev has been overthrown. A ceasefire is offered. An end to the madness. No winners. Only survivors. Europe lies in ruins. Cuba is unrecognizable. The U.S. economy is broken. The USSR is on life support. But the world still exists. But then, Moscow vanishes from radar. No signal. No communications. Just darkness. The Pentagon assumes the worst, a first strike. Orders are confirmed. Missiles launch. 20 minutes later, New York, London, Berlin, gone. A second wave. Then a third. When the ash settles, there's no one left to surrender. Not even the machines. So, which ending do you think is more likely? The one where cooler heads prevail, or the one where pride presses the button? Because in 1962, we came closer than anyone wants to admit. And next time, we might not get two endings.